Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you so much. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good and my day is going well. How my day is it going good? I think it's morning there, yeah? It just started.
Yeah, yeah. It's good. So mornings are always good, right?
So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Kishore. I teach English through YouTube. I got into this YouTube thing recently. It's been about a year now, or I would say 10 months. So this is my second channel. The first one is Net Learn English, where I teach
Okay.
through stories.
Okay.
I make cartoons and make videos. Basically, the reason for that is one thing is I like to teach others, and the other one is I love movies. So I
Okay.
always wanted to become a director or something like that, but I couldn't because it's a tough life, right? Because the background I came from, my parents gave a lot of importance to studies and education, but that desire stayed on with me. So that's the reason I started making these videos.
I think it's not only you, everyone loves to watch movies and cartoons and you take a right decision because you connect the English with their interest and with your interest. That is good and that way people they can learn more English. They can
Absolutely.
entertain themselves and they can learn English. This is really very good. I think I will follow your channels too. Okay. So yes, I introduce myself briefly. As you know, my name is Hema, and by profession I'm a teacher. I post graduation in Hindi, and I have also done my bachelor of education in Australia. I have been teaching in Australia, and besides, I have a channel on YouTube. As you know, the name is The Art of Speaking English, and that is all about me.
That's wonderful. I love the channel's name, The Art of Speaking English. Is it spoken English or speaking in English?
Speaking English, because I think speaking is the art, and especially when it comes to English, because English is also art. It's not like just you have to say some kind of sentences and words. It's not a subject; it's a language. And when you speak any language, you need to consider this is the art because every language have their own accents. And which is good. I like Indian accents. It's very nice and it's easy to express your ideas. I think when I talk in my mother tongue in Hindi with other people, I feel more comfortable speaking in English, and that way you look more professional. I feel like that. I
I
don't know
think it's
other
just
people.
it's just the mindset because they made English as a gold standard. Like, for example, like it's been going on for centuries, right? Since the British went to India and then they kind of ruled and did all that. They set a mindset that if you speak English, you're good. For me, English is good, no, but I think our language is important. But at the moment,
Yes,
English
yes,
has become a global language or international language
yes,
that one needs to know
yes.
because you get a chance to meet different people from different cultures. It's a common language. I feel the same too. Like, English is a must. Everyone needs to know.
Yeah, I don't deny the fact that we should give our respect to our
Yeah,
mother tongue. But English, I just like it. I don't know why. It's fascinating to me. Maybe
yeah. I
I'm in
think
this environment.
the thing is,
That would be the reason.
yeah, I think that could be the reason. The thing is, like, I feel English is, in my opinion, English is one of the easiest languages to learn. For example, like, if it is Indian languages, we have Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Hindi, or many languages,
Yeah.
Punjabi, Bengali, Gujarati, so many languages, but they are very difficult for someone who is not from India. It's very difficult for them to learn. But whereas English, I find it's one of the easiest languages to learn in the world. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some critical aspects of English, like spellings and some letters are silence and all other things. Some words look like similars, but still it's okay. It's manageable.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, any language will have its own intricacies, like, as you said, like silent words, homonyms, homophones. There are so many things, but one gets used to it. Once you start speaking, you can
Yeah.
learn easily, pretty easily.
Okay. So I would like to hear if you can share your English learning journey with us.
Sure. So I studied in English medium school, but the thing is, like, I never spoke in English until my college. So
Okay.
till then, it's like, so I speak Telugu. I'm from Hyderabad, so I speak Telugu. So that's my mother tongue. So till then, I was speaking only in Telugu, like, but only in college, I had to get a job. I had to learn English. So it was a tough thing, though, as you said, though you too like studied in English, but you never spoke. I had the same fear too. So till then, I used to speak only in my language, and I never spoke in English, though I knew because I always had this fear. Those days
Yeah.
the things used to be different
Yeah.
because if I speak, people will make fun of you or people will say something or the other. There is something like shyness, but I think once I overcame that phase where like thinking about others, that's when like the transformation happened. And then I picked up very fast. So the way I learned is like, I used to read a newspaper aloud, and then I used to practice with my friends, whoever was interested. I used to practice with them. And the other thing is like, I used to watch lots of English movies. So those days, we used to have like Star Movies and HBO. So I used to watch movie like one movie per day, English movies. So
Okay.
from the movies, so as you can see, that's the reason why I started Netland as well, because I love movies. So from movies, like I try to understand. Like initially, I had a tough time to understand because the accent was different and the way they form a sentence. For example, in India, like we were taught to speak. For example, we used to say like each and every word and each and every syllable we used to stress, right? For example, we are taught like, how are you doing? Like we have to say every single letter, syllables, everything. But when they speak in movies, it's they cut short, and the pronunciation is how you doing, how you doing. Like it takes time to get
Yeah.
used to things like
But
that. So that's
yeah,
I picked up
that's
mostly
true.
from movies,
Yeah.
the slang and all those
Yeah.
things. And then I, after like, started speaking to people. And once I started speaking to people, I kind of got better. That's what I feel.
Yeah. That's true. That is good. Very impressive. Your English learning journey is.
Thank you.
So yes, people often say that I can understand English, but I can't speak English. So these are the problem every English learner face these days. So would you like to say something about that? How we can overcome this problem?
When they say I can
So
understand English, but I can't speak English. So
yes,
the biggest thing is like they can understand English. It means they know English, right?
they know
When they can
English. Yes.
understand English, they know English. So all that they have to do is like forget about others, forget about making mistakes. The only thing they have to do is whatever they can understand, they have to speak it out. Like even if they are
That's
making
true.
mistakes, the
Yes.
more the more it's not just about the practice. For me, what I feel is that when someone speaks, whenever we are saying a new word, we always struggle. Whether it is like,
Yes.
for example, even if it is like our own language, if we are saying first few times, we struggle to pronounce it.
Yes.
Same goes with English too. The more we pronounce, our sentence formation improves, and we don't have to struggle to find a word. For example, what word should I say? What word should I say next? That one will come automatically. So the more we speak, the better we eat.
That's true. What happens sometimes when we hear some conversation or some kind of lecture, we encounter some new words, and if we write down those words and practice speaking that way we will learn, and it helps us to form the sentences and use those words in our conversation. We follow that formula: use it or lose it. If you are not using it, you will lose it. You will.
Absolutely.
So speaking matter a lot. If you speak that way, you will be able to get fluency in English. Otherwise it won't be possible.
Yeah, I think it's same goes for any language, not just for English.
English,
I
yeah,
think
that's true.
it's just that people shouldn't think English as something like a scary thing. I think once they come out of that phase, they can speak easily.
That's true. Okay,
Yeah,
so now you said you have done your post graduation in computer science, is it right?
that's correct. I did masters in computer science.
Master in computer science, and nowadays you are teaching English through YouTube
Yes,
channel.
I got into this recently.
So how come this idea came into your mind?
So the thing is, like, I since beginning I always felt, people who want to learn English, I should help them in some ways, and not just that. Oh, I told you, like, I love movies, and I want to help. If someone wants to learn something, I want to teach them as well. So I combined both. So I felt YouTube is the powerful medium. So that's when I ventured into this, like, last year. One is like I feel whatever I have learned so far, if I can share that information, or if someone wants to have an English conversation, I
Mhm.
feel I should help. If someone is
Yeah.
genuinely interested to learn, so that's my
Yeah.
intention.
Okay, that is great. So now you are an English teacher. I would say that.
I'm not a qualified English teacher, but I feel like I don't want to be pompous or anything, but I feel like I do speak good English. That if someone wants to
Yes.
have conversation, I'll be like happy to help them out.
Yes, that's true. Like I think most of the people they are good at English, but they are not good teacher. But I can see the strategies you have been using. That is really good. That way you can teach others because you have faced those problems while you were learning English. So now you can help people to how to overcome those problems. Yeah.
Yeah, I think whatever it's just that sharing the experience. It's like for me, learning English is not a rocket science. It's a very simple language.
Really.
It's just that people have to come out of the fear of being judged.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And also, what happened? Fear of being judged in their mind. Therefore, they are not able to speak in English. But they need to think it's not a rocket science. We can speak it. And once they have these things in their mind, yes, English is not a rocket science. I can easily speak and I can easily learn English. They will be able to learn English.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree totally with that.
And there's another question. Most of the English learners they face this problem. They said that it's very hard to speak in English because we don't have English surrounding. So, what would you like to suggest to them?
See, what we are doing right now, they can do the same too. They can either say, reach out to you or me. This is one of the ways. So there are like not just me, there are like 100 other channels where people are having conversations. You can always reach out to them. That's what I would suggest. And the other thing is like they can practice on their own. They don't have to have someone. There are so many ways that one can practice on their own. They can do like reading out newspaper or things like that, or they can go in front of the mirror and start speaking. That's how I learned. I felt I'll be my best teacher to myself. So in those days, like when I used to struggle to speak English, so I never discouraged myself. We have to be teachers to ourselves first. So that's what I did. So I used to speak to myself on my own, like not just that, like what I used to do is like I used to think in English instead of like now these days I don't think in my language. I only think in English. So it got used to. One needs to get to that practice. I think anything comes with practice. Even if there is no one, you can always practice. There are so many ways, and these are the days of social media, and everyone has smartphones. If so, it's coming to YouTube channels is one way, and I know like there are some apps one can install and they can practice. They can use install in Android or iOS phone in the smartphone, and then they can reach out and practice as well. That's one of the ways too.
Yes, as you said that people they need to come up and take a decision. Okay, they want to have a conversation, but some people they feel shy and they have fear of judgment while they're speaking. So I know some people they send requests to me, but they are not able to hold a conversation. I would suggest them if they can start thinking in English and they need to speak those sentences loud, because that time they are alone and there's no one to judge them. So that
Exactly.
yeah.
See, for that matter, like, I'll give you an example of my own self. Like, when I thought of starting YouTube channel, I thought several times whether I should go online or not. So it's not just fear of like being judged, it's a fear of coming online and a fear of being seen. I think one should never think in that way. Everyone is beautiful no matter what. Everyone is, whether someone speaks English or not, everyone is great, everyone is talented because they have their own talent. Once someone comes or goes past that hurdle, they can achieve anything. That's what I feel. Everyone goes through it. It's not just everyone is born like as a natural speaker or someone who is like fearless in front of the camera. Once the mindset changes, anyone can learn anything, anyone can do anything. That's what I would say. Like even if people want to talk, okay, if someone is talking so good, no problem. You also, at one stage I too made many mistakes. I was not this fluent. Only through practice it comes. I think there are so many ways one
Yeah,
can do.
same here.
And if someone wants to speak, if someone is beginner, then obviously I'll be speaking slow so that they can understand and they'll also feel encouraged to talk.
Yeah, that's true. And also one more thing, if someone they have not totally English background and they don't know anything about grammar and they really want to develop their English speaking skills, so what would you suggest them?
If no background at all, I would say they have to start from the basic grammar first. They need to understand, because of course we can pick up from movies and all those things. If they don't know anything, for example, like if there is no alphabets, they need to understand at least some basics.
Yeah.
At least they should know what is singular, what is plural. They need to know the basic tenses, for example, the past tense, present, future. And then they need to learn certain things, like if it is like ing forms, what is a verb, at least that thing. I think that won't take much time to learn. Maybe within a month, one shouldn't say one can learn in a day, which is impossible. They can cover all those basic grammar within a month. Once they get a grasp of that, then they can get into the talking to themselves, talking to friends who are at the same level, and then they can start speaking to others, conversing. That's what I would suggest them.
Yeah, I also cannot deny the importance of knowing basic grammars. Also, I would suggest them that if they can speak in broker English, they need to start. They need not to feel shy. They need to
Definitely, like,
one words even, and they need to use those words over and over again, and then they need to start speaking in small sentences like from how are you, I am fine, something like that. So that way they can start speaking in English, because that way they will develop their confidence. When once they develop their confidence, then they will be fearless speaking in English, and their tongue will get used to speaking English as well.
yeah, absolutely. Like, English is not a difficult language, in my opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately I must leave now because I have another session.
Sure, no problem. It was a lovely
Looking
conversation.
forward.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your beautiful insights and your suggestion and tips.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you so much. Bye.